Last time on Sean's model builds. And now, the continuation. Hello again, that's Sean, and I'm back for another episode of model number 46, the NX01. Don't worry, it's not going to be as long as the 80-minute video you saw before. What I'm doing at this time is I am going to use my little Citadel pin vise here to see if I can drill the holes into the top of the saucer so that I can actually insert those small parts, because I think I found them. I did not lose them after all. I found them. So it seems a waste of time or a shame not to actually build them. See? Well, wait. Okay, that's one of them. And unless I'm mistaken, I sincerely hope I'm not, of course, there's another. See? Right there. Now they are two different sizes though, that's the thing. That's it? Well, I don't believe that's it. Give me one moment. I believe I have more. Be right back once I confirm that. Alright, I did not find them. But this is, let's see here. 104. Now, let me take a look at the instructions of the NX01. It's top saucer. 103. Okay. But you only have one of them because you seem to have misplaced the others. All right, that was a good plan, but I guess it cannot be carried out, so it'll have to stay as it was. All right, but I do have one more thing I need to try, and that is coloring these pieces in the nacelle grills. I actually have to color them blue, because according to the screenshots of Divergence, they were not colored a different color from the hull. So I have to think of something. I have to find a blue that's very close to what the nacelles already are, the nacelle grills I mean, and color them that way. So give me a moment to go find some blue paint, and I will be right back. Thank you for waiting, I'm back. I only found one blue. Now, wait, maybe I'm mistaken. Look. You have an island blue, and you have a pool blue, both from Craftsmart, and you have the acrylic Ocean Cruise blue from, if you look at that blue, you really have to color it the proper color. Yeah, you do, because in the... Well, I will double check on the TrekCore website later to make sure of that, because you don't want to do something that may not be what is needed. However, there is one thing I can definitely do. That is take the Sahara Gold here and apply it to the back of the warp nacelles in the section that's right there. But of course, it's better to turn the ship this way and do that, because... And stir it up with the stir stick. Yes, of course. Gotta stir it up. Because I know I've had these folk art for nearly 9 years. I believe it will be mid-September of this year, 2026, mid-October perhaps. It will be 9 years. So don't want anything to mess up. Did it even... All right, there we go. Okay, so... Oh, I hope it's not too thick. There, better. Good, good, good. Now you do the intersection. You do the outer section of the port nacelle, starboard nacelle, yep. And then the intersection. There. Excellent, excellent. Got it. Okay. That's good. You did it. You did it. And of course, I have also made some progress in doing the white windows on the bottom of the saucer, which were right in there. Use the toothpick. I used the toothpick. And of course, I did the red photon torpedo launchers, both forward and aft. At least that's what I thought they were. And I did the gold up here for what looks like the phaser. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait a minute. Those don't have any color. Well, let's use the pure gold on them then too. Oh, I thought they'd be colored. I thought they had been colored. All right. All right, that's not working. Okay, going to be forced to turn to the finest brush then and hope it works. Oh, come on, there's nothing in the lid. All right. Stirring again. Stirring again. At least it was one type of gold from another. Be right back once it's applied. Oh, sorry, I wasn't even recording. Painted the phasers gold. Identified a few places where I could use the iridescent colors on the ship. And then there's white window. Now, of course, you already have iridescent around here, but you know, every place I can think of. And that should be it. The RCS thrusters have been done. There have been some panel line accent done in there. This is left over from the gray primer, so that's good there. The nacelle is pretty straight. And don't worry, the Aztec decals will cover up any mess. Look at that. That's pretty good. That one, starboard nacelle. Now I was going to color it blue, like it was in the show. Yes. But I think I'll leave them as they are in case I can't find a blue that matches. Oh, look. Maybe. Wait a minute. I'm sure I did everything. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. Oh, there's iridescent on the shuttle bay doors, too. There, you can see it now. See? There you are. Subtle, of course. You don't want anything to be too... Oh, look. Okay. So, One of them has to be green, one of them has to be red. Let's go find those colors. Got them. All right, so green one has to be here, right? Yes, good, okay. That's what I did on the NX01. The refit. I was watching that video recently and I noticed that, so I said, gotta do it. Oh, a little more. Good, all right. And we'll do the other one. Oh, not with that one, the same brush. Use the same brush. Subtle though, do it subtly. Ooh, a little much. A little more. Don't want to have too much on there, just enough. There, perfect. Got it. See? Port side, bottom. Starboard side, bottom. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And I'm going to leave the ship upside down and let that paint dry. And that'll be all for now, unless I end up doing more work this week. In which case, if that happens, I will come back and I will attach it to the same episode. So this is episode 11, I'm sure of it. But it'll either be 11A, what I'm filming today, or 11 total. We'll find out by Friday. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, it's Sean, and I'm here to take a look at the other two kits for the NX01 because I want to see if I have actually a matching guide for the Aztec decals after all. Now the first kit, of course, to compare everything to is the one that has the Polar Lights Aztec decals, as you can see here. Now, the interesting thing is those decals, I believe, are broken up into several sections. You see? They're broken up into several sections. So I don't know that that guide is exactly compatible. They seem much more detailed than the other one. However, take a look at those sections. You take a look at this section. Decal number 2, which is the central trench. Yeah, but decal number 1 looks so different. See? Look. Central trench front. Central trench front. It looks different. It goes over top of the... Oh, I know why. Because decal 16 and 30 in the Polar Lights. You see, it's not exactly the same. Okay, so if the Polar Lights decals are not an exact match, let's see what is. I'll be right back. This is the second part of part 11, by the way. Ow! Well, let me check out the one that I'm going to use for the Columbia. That's it. That is this kit, which I believe, based on the blue stripes, I believe it's from 2005, and I think that copyright date confirms it. Yep. But see, the slight error, even in the 4-ship set, thinks NX01 is silver. It's not. It's a very warm silver, almost a gold. So, let me see if this works here. So here's the NX01 with a flip over lid. See, it looks dark silver there. Those are the simple ones from the decals. Okay. Ah, this is lucky. This is very well. This is actually a bit look. Okay, wait a minute. This is actually some kind of guide. Look. Top, center, the front. Remember, this is for Columbia. It's supposed to be much simpler. The nacelle pontoons, the bottom center. Yes. I mean, it's laid out like if you put the Enterprise saucer over it, you see how the dimensions are almost precisely identical. So you could lay it out that way, but I like guides. Now, I believe that this kit, I could be wrong, but I think it does. I think this kit has the, what was it, the Jack's Hex Creations ones? I think they were adapted from the Star Trek model or paint guide. These are ones I bought in 2001. Let me take a look here. Because you see, they come with their own placement guide, see? Now I want to take a very close look at this placement guide because I have a sneaking suspicion that they actually align almost exactly with what I have here from Decals. Take a look. Now, what number is that? 3? Well, look. 3. Look. They are an exact match with every detail. Yes. Although not quite, because you've got the nacelle pontoons. 11, 10, 5, 6, 12, 16, 13, 11. Huh, they match almost exactly. But the thing is, the Jack's Hex Creations have a placement guide. See? A placement guide. So you lay this placement guide and you see that number 3 exactly where to put it. Number 1 exactly where to put it. Now, I don't see 40 and 41. Let me check the bottom one. 25, 26. Oh, 26 and 20. Now we are getting somewhere. You said 40 and 41, correct? No, that's 7 and 8. All right, where's 7 and 8 on here? Not there. 25 and 26. 37, 22, 27. Oh, 20. Oh, look. There you are. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. They look like they almost go on top of the cargo bay. I hope they're actually aligned. Let's see. 37, 38, 37, 38. Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, I think you just keep those guides and you'll have everything you need. Let me just take a look at the second sheet for a moment. Because I want to be sure. I want to be sure that the second sheet is telling us everything. Now, this is the bottom saucer. So, let's see here. 33, 33, that aligns. 34, 34, 33, 25, 8 and 7, huh? I'm looking. Still don't find a spot for a 7 and 8. 5 and 6, yes. Oh, no, no. 7 and 8. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So 7 and 8 do go. I get it. So 7 and 8 go on here and here. Okay, got it. Got it. Good, good, good. All right, well, I think we have our answer. Those, the decals have a placement instruction that exactly matches up with the placement guide from the Trek modeler, like the Jack's Hacks Creation. So what that means is that thing exactly, and look, look, look. You were worried that the decals only had one decal for the nacelle cap. One of them? Only one? Well, guess what? Jack's Hacks Creation sheet has at least two. And the spare set should have the other two. And the instructions. Now that is very interesting. Because you see, there's nothing for the front. It goes right up there, 14 and 15, right? But nothing else. But that's good, that's good. We have narrowed down everything. We have what we need for the placement of the decals, thanks to the guide from there. So that's perfect. It's just strange that Decals didn't have it, but the Jack's Hacks Creations did. So that is very helpful. It's great not having to guess. Because who wants to guess? Nobody wants to guess. Now take a look at this. This is a slightly lighter color than that. NXO2 Columbia? Maybe, but I'm using the simplified set for Columbia, which is because it's a different Aztec pattern entirely, and that's why I'm using it. Yeah. But the numbers do match exactly. And you do have the exact placement guide, so that should work out quite well. Interesting how there's still only two for each set, though. Very interesting. Okay. Anyway, that's good. So I'll put them away. Keep the placement guide because it is necessary and accurate. Matches up with decals perfectly. So I'm glad I bought those aftermarket sets. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a placement guide at all. So that's good. Very good. So now I'll go show you what progress I've made on the ship as far as the windows are concerned. All right, so what I did is I used paint to fill in again the blue, although it didn't quite take, but I have painted the windows with white. I just put a bit of water in the cap and put it on that way. And if you look closely, you might have to do some windows on the side. See if I can indent them. Of course, you still have to do the windows on the bottom. And I did the white navigation lights here. And on the bottom, I have done the red and the green. I've done the torpedo launchers. I have done... What else? What else? Not much else, but there is one more thing to do with the red and green, and that is to do these two central lights up here. And these are the two colors I use. And once again, we're going to use the toothpick because it's the one thing that stays intact. I mean, the one thing that keeps the tiniest amount of paint on there and doesn't risk a paintbrush bristle degrading on me. So, green on the right side. All right. Well, that's the tiniest bit of green. We'll see if that takes it. Magnifying glass again. It's on there. Tiniest green dot. Right there. So then you flip the toothpick around and you use the tiniest red dot on the other one. You could even get it from the cap. See? Tiniest red dot. And then you use the magnifying glass for maximum precision. Ah, that thing's in a bit crooked. They both are, but that's okay. All right. So, should be able to see the red there. There it is. Good. So those are both done. That should be the entirety of the top saucer complete. So all you have left to do now is to do the white windows on the bottom saucer, and I should be finished. And yes, you can still see the iridescent coloring right like that on the shuttle bay. Now let's see, it looks gold, but if you shimmer it, you can see the different colors showing up. Beautiful. All right, good. So that is it for now for the NX01. And if I do any more before Friday, of course, they'll have that video segment added to episode 11. If not, this will be part 11B and the final section of that episode. And yes, I did color in more gold. Made sure to get the gold everywhere because phasers. It is flexing a bit. I did not glue the saucer in place. Didn't feel I had to, not this time. Those are the docking ports on either side. They're aligned precisely with the center of the ship. Well, almost. They're not exactly aligned under the green light. They're a bit back. But at least there's no unsightly gaps, and at least the sides flow outward. And you know, the plain champagne gold is not too different from the champagne gold over top of the titanium gold, so I think we did okay. And I did the panel line accent along here, but with the lighter gray, so it's not too obvious, really. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the ship, the way it turned out. And I'm glad that those Jack's X Creations decal guide placement is precisely aligned with GCal, so you have a guide after all. You no longer have to guess. But it was fascinating how much more detailed the polar lights are. Anyway, that's all for now for Wednesday, July 22nd, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye. Oh, thanks for waiting. I'm back again. So this is the final segment of episode 11 of the NX01 build. And this morning I finally, with help from the GCal guide, narrowed down the exact placement of the Aztec decals onto the ship. So what I'm going to do now is break it up by top and bottom. As you can see here. So, most of my placement guesses were correct. But there were some that had to be corrected based on the top guide of the GCals. And there are some pieces that I'm just guessing that they go there because of how they're mentioned. Although I don't seem to see a 7 and an 8. Oh, wait, you're right, I do. There is one of them on the top sheet. There is one of them on the... Well, there's actually only one of them. But there's a 40 and a 41, which seem to be shaped much more for... Like take a look at this this section here, right? Okay. See how it's almost like a narrowing, well, unless you look at this piece here. See that piece? That looks a lot like it belongs there if you got it shaped the correct way. Now, there is another 40 and 41 here, and I bet one of those pieces, if you cut it out, might indeed fit. Like, well, maybe not. Maybe it goes there after all. Okay, but 7 and 8. But if you take a look at 7 and 8, see how they're much more curved? Well, that's not going to fit there. That would fit there. If you took 7 and 8, that does look like it fits that curve. Yes, it does. See? So some of the parts are mislabeled. Ah, but not quite because of that angle. So you're just going to have to dry fit a few pieces and see if you can get them to fit on the ship. But what I'm really going to do is I'm going to take all the Aztec decals that are clearly labeled, like 12 and 11 and 8 and 16, 20, because it has to have, number 20 has to have the hole in it to account for the impulse reactor, whereas 21 looks like this. And this is much more detailed than the Columbia equivalent. And if you look at the bottom, you see that section right there, that grill work? It is accounted for on part 21. There's the empty slot where the grill work will go. But since we're on the bottom hull, and 14 wraps along the top of that nacelle, 15 wraps along the top, it is 36 and 35, although the parts look identical, so maybe it's not that important. But now we look at the secondary hull, ventral side of the primary saucer. So see, 33, 32, 34, 28. So I only had to make a slight course correction up here, 22 and 23. 24 and 26, I hope, because if you turn it to the bottom of the star drive hull, again, same curving pieces. So it seems like it might be 6 and 7 or 24 and 26. That's what I'm going for. Right along this curved section, if it'll fit. And 40 and 41 along there, if it'll fit. But of course, that's only after you've test fit everything else now. 18 and 19, 37 and 38, because that's what's on the bottom layer of G-cals, right there. See? So that's what I did. And then, of course, 15 along the, 14 and 15 along the bottom of the nacelles. See? 14 there, so 15 there. Now, they shouldn't have had 15 written on the nacelle strut. They should have shifted the number over onto the nacelle itself, but you get the idea. And 27. And if you take a look at the bottom saucer, you're going to see the central section is one decal. It says it's 31, though it doesn't label it. It says 30 and 29 along the outer edge, 30 and 29. It has 27. So there's 27, narrowing around a part that doesn't have any Aztec decals. But if you look carefully, that is the section that has to expose the shuttle bay anyway. So that works perfectly. Which leaves the shuttle bay's nice iridescent colors, which you can see there, visible. So that's perfect. So that is the entire placement guide for the Aztec decals of the NX-01. I'm of course going to do the bottom side first after I've painted the windows. And I haven't painted the windows on the bottom side yet, except in this section. Again, something I did with white. Don't worry about that smudge. It will be covered up by the Aztec decal, just like, I guess that's the only one. Good. And I must remember, if I can, painting in the windows up here. Even if they are raised, they don't appear to be, look, they're raised. But I'm still going to paint them if I can get the toothpick in there. That's a docking port, so you leave it alone. Raised windows. Good. So it'll work out one way or another. You see, this is nice. This, no seam. This, just like the left nacelle, had a seam. Ugh. When I build it again for the Columbia, I'm going to see if I can narrow down the pegs a bit. Don't worry about the dark gray here because that's the same color as the Aztec Decal. This is the impulse reactor. Now the back of it, they retrofit back here to fire torpedoes in season 4. I might paint the edges of this very carefully with the, not the taupe, well, maybe the taupe, because I believe the taupe is the color of the hull. I might paint that so that the only blue is left inside. It was just easier to paint the part when it was on the sprue tree. And yes, see, the right side is pretty good. Still has that gap, and no matter how much I press, I can't seem to get rid of that gap. I use the clamps and everything, but see, it presses in, but it won't come out. But you know, no build is perfect. But when I do the beauty shots, I will do this side because this part is directly in the middle, but you can still see the grill work. Although I might experiment with Columbia and leave these off just to see how it looks without them. Just so that you can see the blue of the nacelle the whole time. I might try that with Columbia. You want to make as many visual differences between Enterprise and Columbia as possible, not just the silver hull, not just the more square as opposed to rounded deflector dish, and not just the simpler Aztec pattern. But if you can change the side of the nacelles a bit, because Columbia was rushed into service, it was a simpler build, so they may not have put all the bells and whistles on it anyway, which would make sense. So that's what I'm going to do for Columbia, and that's a future build. I don't think it will be model number 50. It might. I mean, Motu Mega Constructs is model number 49 right now. I'd like to make model number 50 be the 60s Batmobile, model number 51 be the 89 Batmobile, and model number 52, because 52 probably be the Val Kilmer Batmobile. And that way model 53 can either be the, I guess it's a 2018 Herbie, maybe 2013, the Herbie I got recently, like in the 2020s. We'll see which one has the better decals. And we'll make the decision from there. And as you see, there's a few TV and movie cars that took up more space, and I wasn't able to put them in the movie car cabinet because it's already quite full. And these are modern versions of the two Batmobiles. Just like that's a modern version of the Batwing. But I wanted to, wherever possible, get original release versions of model cars, including the Dick Tracy car and everything. They had Dukes of Hazzard and Grease Lightning Fast and Furious 5, which was my very first model car, which I purchased in late 2018. A Fast and Furious style Honda Civic Coupe. I do have a pearlescent blue, so I can kind of make it look like mine car, at least in the color scheme. Look, it even has a sunroof, although mine has a sliding cover. Yeah, so it'll be quite fun between model cars and model starships. But I always like to break it up between Star Trek starships and model cars because it just it works better for me to break things up a bit. And of course, don't forget about the Motu Mega Constructs builds. So that's all for now from Sean's Model Builds. That's the end of episode 11 for the NX01 build. And the next step is to flip it over and do the finish up the white windows. That's all that's really left on the ship. So we'll see you here next time. Bye bye.